Start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have a guest tonight, and he had contacted me within the 48 hours, so this is falls under unanticipated issues. I've given you a letter that was sent to me that was dated 22nd January 1979 from Jack Dolan, who basically chairman of the Conservation Commission Soil Conservation Board, committing to a fence. Now, we all know there's a problem with the fence. It's been a problem for probably 10 years, and needs replacement in the last 5. Jim, you want to come up and speak to that? Jim Mullins is here. He represents, what do they call it? Did they really call it the Nokichoke Acres Group? Or they
Well,
just
this
the
history,
Cooper
right?
Mullen?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I sent you that because I couldn't print
Yeah.
it, but it was the Nokichoke Group at one time. I'm representing the family right now because they couldn't be here. But we've all actively met on it and other things because we maintained the beach property as a trust that my grandparents had set up way back whenever, before me. But they worked with the town. And I think if I look back in the records, it was 1968 when the town came to my grandparents and they made an agreement about this, so they didn't knock down the big dune at the top of the hill, right? And everybody did the good neighbor thing for the right reasons. So here we are, and I sent you those just because that was stuff that was in files that would represent the precedent that had been going along for since 1968. And as we've been talking, the repair and replacement discussion started back in 2018 at least, and we're not quite sure, but 2019 or 20,
Yeah,
the money was appropriated, it was approved and voted in town meeting, and it's been sitting there and hasn't. And as I wrote in my letter to you, which I have a copy for you all, did you give copies to them?
No, I don't think you did.
But
Did you?
I had emailed this to you too, but anyway,
Oh.
just a simple letter for the record, okay? And it, you know, at the end of the day, we've heard my aunt Cindy Scheller has been here quite a few times. Lynn
Yes.
Kingsbury, who's passed, who was managing it in the past. You know, we've heard, we gotta wait till after summer, the pipe implovers, the COVID, we don't have any labor. Now we have price increases since it was approved a few years ago, so we can't do it. Well, these are all true, but if you run a business that way, you're out of business, right? So, you know, I don't know, we're just looking for a resolution. Summer's coming to an end, and then it will be winter, and then it will be spring, and then it will be pipe flovers again. And, I went up to the beach a couple weeks ago. I don't get there as often as I'd like to, but I got a little this week. But yeah, I didn't make a lot of copies. I was gonna kill my ink in my printer, but you can take a look at that, and as a town asset, and as a neighbor, if it was your neighbor in your home and that was encroaching on your property, or vice versa, I think everyone would have the same conclusion, right?
Oh, no, I think we've had this discussion. Perry's new to the new year, right? New to the commission. The other members are aware, Woody and Paula, who are not here tonight. I know Woody's in Canada. Paula just can't make the meeting. So we're all aware, and I think we have supported, that's why we appropriated the money 5 years ago, probably now, 4 years ago, to do it. And originally, we didn't, because of the cost of the fence, at the under 25,000, we didn't have to prevailing wage. Now it's over 25, so we're prevailing wage, which triples the cost of the fence. So instead of doing what we figured to be about 600 feet of fence, is what I measured from where it starts to where it ends in the tree line somewhere. We can do about 300 feet of fence, basically. So we were thinking, and I had a discussion with the town administrator today, after this letter, and basically it's whatever we decide. So I said, okay, I have a feeling I know what the beach committee is going to decide, but I can't speak for other members. Because we've decided this, I think, probably half a dozen times in the last 4 years. And I said, it's got to start after Labor Day at some point, just do it. As I know it,
but the decision will be with the selectmen.
Right, they have to enter the contract to actually spend.
And they
it.
have repeatedly put it off.
Well, it gets kicked down the road, so, here's the solution, and let's do this first. I'll entertain a motion regarding the fence that runs along the access road between, I don't know who.
No,
am I
so the
saying?
properties, again, that's why I'm here and how I phrase it is I'm representing the property owners. So there's 3 deeds beyond our deed, my deed, right?
Who's the actual owner of the right
Well,
of the
there's 2,
fence?
well, so as you move up that pathway, there's
Yeah.
2. So the first one is Cindy Scheller, and I believe it's, I should have brought the map. I believe
So,
it's
yeah.
Cindy in the Kingsbury. Or it's Cindy Scheller is the first one, and then the second parcel is Cindy Scheller and the Kingsbury estate now, which would be represented by my cousin Lance. And then there's the third parcel, which is the H&C Trust, which is the beach.
I just want to get these all down so we're specific with our motion.
Yeah, well, we better look at the deeds there
Yeah.
to make sure. I'm not, in fact,
We, close
we-
enough.
we-
Close
in a-
enough. We know what we're saying, but okay.
So that, the letter really should be written individually by each property owner down the line. So
Right.
I've represented this as, nobody
fence,
else could
though.
be here, so.
So it's one fence. So I know we have $23,640 appropriated.
Thank you.
I did
That
find
was-
out.
That was my, that was
I did find out the number. And at the time, which was 4 years ago, that's what it could be done for, actually slightly less. I think that's 600-foot stretch. And then when the pandemic hit and the price went through the roof, it was over the threshold. And we have to go up to 25,000, 3 bids, prevailing wage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So we can do that. And we'll put his $23,640 worth of fence up.
now I'm gonna ask a really stupid question.
Yes.
Can the highway department help?
I asked Chris, and he's willing to do it, and he can do it in the fall. He's very busy in the summer, he's very busy in the
I
winter.
realize
There's only
that,
4
yeah.
of them.
Yeah, oh, I know, that's why I.
So the question is, we can save a boatload of money and probably do the whole fence if they do it.
Okay, can you
Now,
motion that?
the highway department isn't exactly professional fence installers either. I can ask Chris, and we can
They
go,
do it along the roadway. There's professionals I think we need,
this is a little trickier though.
yeah.
You can't put backhoes up on the dune, and you can't dig holes in the dune, and you
You
can't do
would,
those.
but you, sorry to interrupt, but you
Yes.
would have to if you didn't have the agreement, and you'd have to knock down the dune.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
Bet you
so
that
big.
might cost a little
I
more
mean,
than
these
that.
can, I think with the fins they put on they can push them into the sand essentially. I don't mind asking Chris if he'd like to do it. I think in commitment, I think Mr. Mullen here is looking for a commitment just to get it done. I mean, he doesn't care if the highway department does it or it falls out of the sky as
No,
long as
but
it gets
we
done.
do, because we can save a bucket load of money and put
Yeah.
up a good fence in a longer length than
Yeah.
we could the other way. If I motion that we ask the highway department to do that.
I think we have to motion, and I'd like to go in front of the selectmen to push this thing forward.
Hmm.
I don't know when their next
2
meeting is.
motions?
I don't know if it's Monday or not. I don't know.
It's 21st, yes.
It is Monday? I think we're gonna be too late for that agenda because it closed today at 4 o'clock.
Uh,
So
Unanticipated.
I guess I could call Jim as an
I do it
unanticipated.
all the time.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I don't know when it's gonna happen, but,
I'd like to motion the first part of it.
motion to go to do what? To do the first part of the fencing?
Yes, with the names that you
Okay.
had.
Just the first part of the fence, or?
No, no, no,
Oh, the-
just
Yeah,
the
okay, the entire.
first part of the motion, because then I want to get into the highway department.
I'm just gonna put available funds. Do I have a second?
Yep, second.
Barry seconds it. Any discussion?
I just wonder if, similar to the lifeguard situation, if we can put somebody to spearhead the fence installation, so we meet our, dates and deadlines and just get it done. I feel like if.
I think we have to get a commitment from the selectmen that we need to get it done by whatever. I mean, I'd say, November 1st. I'll throw out a date there, November 1st, just as a round date. Because then you run into winter, and if it turns into a snow, then it's just gonna be, you're never gonna be able to put it in. And, you can't count that we had a winter like last winter where it never snowed and it was perfect. But I would think that by November 1st, you could get it in.
And one other question, what do we do if the 23,640 isn't gonna cover the cost of the fence?
We're gonna spend $23,640 if we need to. I have a feeling for 18, that's the price I got from Highland Fence 2 years ago, they could do the first 325 feet, which runs basically, we're gonna extend it a little further towards the ocean because there's a well-worn path now at the end of the fence that Cindy wanted to be blocked off. And run it up, there's a pine tree in the gully, there's a big pine tree, we don't wanna cut the pine tree. At least run up to that, because that's the worst part of the fence. That fence from that going to the beach is pretty much disintegrated, it's being held up by the sand. And then we appropriate money to do the rest of it.
So it'd really be two?
We have to appropriate money at town meeting. We
Okay.
have to pull it out of our enterprise fund and appropriate it for fencing. Because the fencing from the tree going back towards the parking lot is not horrible, but it's pretty bad.
Mhm.
But at least it's standing up.
Sure.
I think so, that would be the plan, we'd have to once we do we know the price of the first, what we get for the 23,000,
Mhm.
we'd know how much we'd have to appropriate to get the remainder of it.
Okay. And are the property owners comfortable with that? Do you think?
I'll bring it back to them. I just,
Yeah.
everybody's not available. I'll bring it back to them and look at.
I mean, they're gonna have to
Back-
understand
back-
there's gonna be some vegetation that gets cut. The pine tree, I was very specific with Highland Fence when they were out there. That big,
Which pine tree?
it's a big pine tree right at the bottom of the slope. It's gotta be 40 feet high and
Towards Cherry Webb?
it's right on the fence line. Yeah, it's right on the low part between the two hills.
But there's no issues in there, right? Oh, between the two dunes?
Yeah,
Further towards the.
yeah,
beach. I was thinking-
I'll
check it out.
Big pine tree.
I'll check it out Saturday.
And
I
you,
don't think there's where the issues are.
no, the issue is from the pine tree going to you can see it. The pine tree going through where it goes past the second bench and everything, there's no fence post.
Right.
It's just chain link fence standing up in the sand. And at one point, it's only like 2 or 3 feet high, you can step
And now
over
it's
it.
getting abused. It's getting busted apart now. Now
Yeah.
that, like any fence.
Yeah, the highway department did a good job of
They
shoring
did.
it up for a little while, but it was a temporary fix.
They did.
So let's,
Can we send them back or request that they go back down there and kind of shore it up?
at this point, if they're gonna go down there and do anything, let's just have them go down there and put in the fence. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to
Sure.
keep, putting Band-Aids on it. It just, I think after, the month of October, they could install it because the weather's turning, it gets darker. People aren't going to the beach as much. People still go to the beach. It's always gonna be that way, but it's, you have to have a crowd and kids and everything else going back and forth while you're trying to install a fence. But I think if we set a date of November 1st, as a drop dead deadline, weather permitting, hurricanes or whatever, then it just gets done.
And I think we would say this. I didn't come here to pound sand, right? I have stacks of letters
Yeah.
to you,
Yeah.
letters back and forth, all the way back
Oh, no,
to John
Cindy's
Dolan.
been here several times.
So it's not about pounding that. It's just about knowing that the obstacle really isn't here. The obstacle has been with the Board of Selectmen
Well-
in pushing it forward, just in setting the date. Just let's just that's what we're looking for is that commitment. So we don't do this again in the spring and waste.
No. So that's why if you get it in the fall, it's
Be
done.
great.
It's done, and then because the spring we can appropriate more money
Be great.
out of our thing, which will be available July 1st of next year to do it. Maybe the next fall to that to finish it off, or if the highway department does it, and we're not paying prevailing wage, we can do the whole
That'd
fence.
be great. That'd be awesome.
Because we have enough for materials, we just paying two laborers, $68 an hour to install a fence, because that's the prevailing wage, gets very expensive.
Look at it, it's an eyesore on a pristine piece of property that both is private and town. I mean, it's gotta be one of the town's
Yeah,
greatest
well,
assets,
I think,
right?
yeah, well, now people are hanging trash on it,
Oh,
balloons and
I'm picking trash up
goggles
every
and,
weekend,
yeah.
as I'm sure you do when you
I get
walk
it.
by. I mean, it's just a nonstop, the beer bottles, the this, the that, it's just becoming, and once you open that door, it just,
Yep. So we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
So, okay, so the plan is, and I don't need a motion on this, the plan is I'll contact Jim Hartnett tomorrow morning about going to the selectmen about pushing this thing forward. and getting the appropriate paperwork in place. Because we're gonna have to get 3 bids, because it's gonna go over 25, I know it is. So to get 3 bids in place, and then we don't have to take the lowest bid, we can take whomever. And we may not get 3 bidders, because everybody's so darn busy. The biggest problem we've had is you only get 1 bidder usually, or something, you have to take it whatever you get, so. Then that would be planned, so we could do that, if we get that in place by September, get the bids in by October, install by November.
So hopefully the town, hopefully the,
I sense a little hesitancy to already, but, you know, on different types of fencing, but if it is, Highland Fence came up with the best idea, not that they're gonna install it with the cable on the top that you can't climb on. It does 2 things. It makes it harder for people to get over the fence, but also prolongs the fence, because when people are climbing on the bar, going over the fence, it just wears, and then it just bends, and then
and it's open.
once it starts, we're here again in a couple of years, you know? So, that fence has lasted a long time.
It has, and if you go through the records, that's the whole point. Like, I look at the records and go, wait, this is, this has been,
That's a long
done over
And that
20 years or whatever it's
In that
been.
environment, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, to tell you the truth. You know, considering storms, hurricanes, everything else that's been on that beach, and, you know. Yeah, but if you look at that pine tree, you'll know, as soon as you go down there,
I
you'll
know
know what
it,
I
I just
mean.
have to go stare at it.
Yeah, you'll see, because it goes right up against the pine tree.
So that's not an issue. Preserve the pine tree.
Yeah, but, you know, it's like, that's almost like the dividing line of like good to bad, like going towards the beach, it's crap, and going towards, it's not really that bad. That's where it gets up over the dune and starts going into the woods. So I think that can wait, we get the first part done. Like I said, we want to extend it a little further, because there's that well-worn path around the fence that everybody keeps using. We stop blocking that off, we can start doing things, so. Okay, so that's the plan. So I'm gonna try to get on the meeting for Monday night. I can make no promises because the agenda's close, but I can try. That's all I can do. And if not, it'll be 2 weeks after that.
48 hours. The unanticipated 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's the unanticipated thing. But I don't make that decision for their agenda. That gets made by the selectmen. I'm just small potatoes. Okay,
Okay.
all right, good enough.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming,
all your
Jim.
time. Appreciate it. Very good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Congratulations. I'm sure good things will come. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Have a good night, Jim.
You too.
Mike, you're up. Let's take Mike now. Mike Croto is our head lifeguard. He's gonna tell us all kinds of good news.
There really isn't a lot of news. The beach is still safe, and
Any rescues, any major?
not major rescues. No, nothing as the past month. Actually, no jellyfish have been found as the month of August.
Yeah, I found a couple, so yeah.
You
They're
did?
small, but yeah,
we've
small ones.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything on our beach at all. And like I said, there's been a couple assists, and nothing major though. Everything's going good.
Okay, so I've been, you don't see the report, I see the report. Did you guys get the report? I think I forwarded it to you from the Audubon.
Yes, I
About-
saw that. Yep, I did see that. So we've halted seaweed raking since we've gotten that.
I kind of knew that was coming.
Yeah.
But also, they're having a problem down at the Boaters Beach. Are we having problems at Boaters Beach with people coming down from Boaters Beach with dogs and things?
So not on see what I think is happening is before and after hours.
Oh, absolutely.
That's when the dogs
Right.
are coming, but we have not seen dogs.
But realistically, I know Audubon goes down there. They've been seeing dogs because people go over to Boaters Beach, you know, with the dogs and everything, and that's where the plovers are all down that end.
So
And they keep going.
Okay.
We don't have any control over that. That's
No.
a selectman thing. That's another thing to bring up in front of the selectmen, I think. But
Okay.
it's been their major complaints. They were very successful this year. They being the plovers are very successful.
Yeah, there was like
breeding.
4 hatchings or whatever it was.
So they've done very well this year, but it's the same things with Audubon, with what's going on and everything, and I don't know how you stop that. And actually, animal control, Nick from Animal Control came up to me and asked me that he's going to be patrolling a little bit more diligently in the morning prior
Okay.
to the lifeguards getting there.
Because that's, I think, exactly what
That's the
happened.
big, the morning is the big.
Yeah, that's, people go for walks in the mornings. and
Oh, I know,
stuff.
they're waiting for me to open the
Yeah,
gate,
yeah.
you know, so.
What was the issue with the Autobahn? Was it the seaweed being raked? onto
Raked
the
and
roads?
dumped on it.
It was too close. It was supposedly it's supposed to be 200 yards and more away or something like that, away from
50 meters.
yeah, away from where the plovers nest or potential nesting areas, and we were within that distance. So that's why we've halted
Yeah,
because
so they can't nest in the sand, there's a pile of seaweed.
yeah, exactly. So
You know,
that's why
conversely, this year has been really bad for seaweed.
And,
it's been horrendous. So that's
Yeah,
why we've halted.
And there's not much you can do, and actually, I think Jim will tell you, he's been raking it on his beach, but it's been really bad, and they don't want, you know, basically, they look at it as a natural occurrence.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks ugly, and yeah, people don't want to deal with it, but they look at it as all part of a beach,
Yeah.
and you just live with it and just keep it the way it is. Because you rake it, even when they used to rake it in rows, and even that, the Audubon wasn't real thrilled about that.
Because that's actually been our biggest complaint this year. Has actually been the seaweed. I mean,
Yeah.
we've gotten multiple complaints about the seaweed, and
Yeah, I
you know,
think
since we've gotten that complaint from the
Well,
Audubon
we-
Society.
Yeah, I
stopped.
mean, people don't understand, you know, it is a recreational facility, but you are limited in what you can do, you know, on certain things. You know, we got complaints there's too much sand on the beach, there's not enough sand on the beach. It's a cyclical thing, and it's a beach. You go down there, some days you're not gonna have any seaweed and it's gonna be great. Other days I've seen it, you know, solid wall of red, and there's nothing you can do about it. Depends on wind and tides and everything else, so. But this year it's been unusually for rockweed and seaweed.
Now, let me ask you this: if this issue persists next year, do you not want us to rake it at all, or?
Well, you know, if it gets really, you know, if you went to Gooseberry, you'll see a 3-foot thick pile
Yeah.
along the rack line.
That's
You know, and that's
pretty
the
much
problem.
with us.
But you just can't move it. You know what I mean? You can't move it towards the plovers. You can't move it. You really shouldn't put it up against the dunes either, because it'll smother the grass that's trying to grow. So that's why they want you to just leave it, and they consider it. This
Is-
is nature, and let it go.
Is there an area we could designate for it, or no?
I don't know how you do that.
Well, you'd have to identify, what, 50,
Meters is measure it out,
The dune.
put it away from the dune
Yeah.
so many feet, and then I guess go about it that way. I don't know if you know.
But
if we
early
could
in the
do
year,
something
up
like
until
that,
July, they consider the plovers are still looking, so they don't want you touching anything.
Yeah.
And then when they finally do nest, then you know where they are.
Mhm.
That's when they want you to be 50 meters. But so you're up until July, you know, July 4th weekend, you shouldn't be doing anything because the
Sure.
birds still nesting, looking for nesting sites. So if you rake seaweed, it becomes a problem. I think it's a little overkill on some aspects, but you know, usually we don't. This year, I can't believe how much seaweed has washed up.
It's been an obscene amount. So
Yeah,
Could
and
we
it's just
meet with the Autobahn down there and see if they can designate a spot?
see, there was talkings through email about having some sort of training going on to identify where the nesting areas could be for the lifeguards, so we could be able to rake the seaweed into certain areas, but.
you know, this year was the first. They had, I mean, pretty much 80% of the beach was roped off at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it
It
was
was right up into the lifeguard chairs,
Yeah.
and there wasn't much you could do anywhere. And then they took down that section because the birds usually are looking for nesting there, but once the activity starts, it's gone.
I would say at least probably 60% of the fencing that was there originally was taken down.
Yeah.
So
Well, because once the activity starts, they move.
Yeah.
They move all down towards the end, and
Exactly.
that's why they've had a problem with the Boaters Beach. We don't have control over that. I'll leave it up to selectmen to deal with that. That's not really our purview. You know, I don't know how you stop that problem. That's a whole different problem. Because, you know, what's happening is they bring their dogs, and the dogs are running around the corner, and everybody's doing that, throwing the ball and stuff like that. But unfortunately, that's where the plovers are nesting. And anyway, anything else?
yes.
You know, this is August. You will not, I don't know if you're around for our next meeting, which is in September. We'd like you to be if you could.
Yeah, I could be around.
Yeah.
Would it be again the third Thursday?
Third Thursday,
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
something unusual happens, that's what we plan it. 'Cause
Okay.
Nobody else uses the room. You know, so we can go over like equipment you may need for next year.
I've already
we need
got-
probably an inventory of what you need, what you think you might need above and beyond what you have, and that kind of thing, so we can plan.
There's really isn't.
Budgeting.
Yeah, I've already started keeping inventory and stuff
Perfect.
like that. Things like that. So I actually have a list. But I'll present that.
No, because we have to start budgeting in November for
Yeah.
next year. thing, so.
And I think, Mike, you had mentioned that you inquired with the current lifeguards who was gonna be returning or?
Yes, I did. I did. Do you want me to like?
Return?
If you can
Yes.
provide a list, you know, that
Yeah, I do have a list.
They may get
actually.
miserable in the next 3 weeks and maybe half of them don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a list as of right now. But I would say about 9 out of.
You have a
the-
list and contact information, that would be great.
All right, yeah, I would say it's a good amount that's coming back or would like to come back.
Yeah, it's always, when you have a good season, everybody's happy,
Yeah.
you know. Okay. That would be good if we even get 9 coming back.
Yeah.
How many do we have? How many are working right now? 11?
No, actually we're down to around 9 or 8.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because
I know one was leaving at the end of July and then one, so.
we, you know, do you want?
No, so you have 9 right now?
Yeah.
But you're pretty good till through
Yeah,
every day.
yeah,
You'll be
absolutely.
fine. Okay.
We're fine. Scheduling's
I
fine.
mean, what have you been doing on days like this? I mean, have you been sending people
I
home?
have, I've had to send people home because there's really no one showing up, so it's a waste of tax dollar to have someone.
Well,
on.
we appreciate that, but I
Yeah.
also appreciate the fact that, you know, that it's a summer job and they need the money.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make them unhappy because they, you know, it's
Yeah,
raining
it's
every
like
day.
it's a fair system. I basically ask, you know, who wants to.
What
go
do you
home.
do in thunderstorms? I'm just curious.
Thunderstorms, we close the waters. We go sit in the truck and we close
But
the
what
water.
about the beach? Do you close the beach?
We don't close the beach. We close it. So if it thunders 3 times, then we close the beach. Like meaning like like really hardcore thunder and lightning. But if it thunders like scattered like every 20 minutes or so, because we have to shut the water for 30 minutes and then we're allowed to let people in. I've never been specified whether to close. Like
Because there's always the fear, you know, the beach is a dangerous place to be. It's like golf course.
Exactly,
It's
and that's-
wide open, and if you're having metal umbrellas or metal chairs and all these other things sitting around, it tends to be dangerous. That's why I was wondering if you were just like,
Sadly, we
time
did.
to leave. type
The
of
4th of July, we did actually close the beach just for the simple fact it was thundering and lightning. It was really severe, and that was pretty much the only time we closed the beach because of thunder and lightning. It was that severe. Besides that, we've kind of kept it open, meaning the beach part, but not like we close the waters when we have to and stuff.
I noticed there was one night it was really bad, thundering and lightning. I was going by Horseneck, and the state cops were running people out of there. You know, on the beach. The trucks were on the beach with the orange lights, but the state cops were like
Pushing them out.
pushing them out. You know, getting them off the beach. And usually we take the lead from the state beach as to what happens and what we should do.
Yeah, because we follow what Horseneck follows as well. So when they close the beach, we close the beach. That's pretty much what that's our system. So
I know there've been a lot of thunderstorms during the day, and there's been some horrendous rainstorms too.
yeah, there has. So when Horseneck closed their beaches because of thunderstorm, we do as well. So that's kind of the code for what we do.
Okay.
Any other questions?
You had mentioned that there was a couple of assists. Do you keep an incident? report
Yeah, we
on?
have we have some, basically what the major thing that happened, we do have an incident, we do have an incident report here, but, I do keep a log in this notebook as well for just the minor assist that, in case anything happens, so we do have a log, anybody can read it, so.
Because it started off gangbusters this season, but it's kind of really tapered off here,
Yeah.
and it usually does in August.
Yeah.
But I mean, the weather has turned
Yeah. we haven't had
kind of
any nice days.
non-beach swimming type weather.
Yeah, the most major incident was probably at Boulder's Beach earlier in the year. That was probably the most major one. Besides that, there's
Yeah.
really been
That,
nothing.
but that's,
I know that's not our jurisdiction, so.
no, I've seen some things on Boaters Beach that scare the heck out of me.
Yeah.
People, I watched some people, they were parked at the Baby Beach. They came in about a 15-foot whaler. There was like 7 people in this standing up in this 15-foot whaler coming from the Boaters Beach. There was a giant party going on. And they're holding babies, no life preservers, and it's dark. And I was shocked at what I was watching. It's like, if they fall overboard in the dark, it would be, not that the town has a problem, but it's like, I just wonder what people think about. That's all.
Atrocious situation.
Okay, well, that's good then.
Yeah.
Hopefully the next 3 weeks go the same and we make it through and everything works out.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
No, you're doing a good job. Everything seems to be good. Everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
When we don't hear any complaints about the lifeguards, we know everything's going great,
Well, that's a good
Not
thing.
that we have any complaints about the lifeguards, but it's been, I think, You know, I don't know if it's been real crowded, to tell you the truth. I'm never there during the day, so I couldn't.
It hasn't been. It really hasn't. Like, it's been a really awkward since August. It's been kind of awkward. It's been weird. Like some days it's packed, and then some days it's like, nah, it's really no activity because of I think the weather and other various factors.
Well, there's a lot of things going on. Like July usually starts all kinds of activities outside the beach. Like, you know, the first week of August is always the feast in New Bedford,
Yeah.
as you know, and so a lot of people either are leaving early or just don't go at all unless it's a really hot day or
Yeah.
something. So you know, and then fireworks and 4th of July. And now, I mean, Labor Day weekend will be crowded because everybody thinks it's the last day.
Yeah,
of the
that's
year.
the last
I mean,
hurrah,
everybody,
you know.
everybody runs down there to get that last beach day in. so.
Absolutely, and then it's pretty much over.
So.
Sadly.
Okay, well, good. Well, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're planning on, the next meeting would be, that would be the 21st of September.
Alrighty, I'll put that in my calendar, and I will be, prepared for any, inventory questions and anything like that. If you guys need anything, always be free to contact me. But thank you so much, guys.
All right,
Thank you,
good.
Have a great night.
Have a good night. Okay. All right. There wasn't much on the agenda except for those things. I do have the town clerk reported 4,248 beach passes have been sold as of this week, as of when I posted on Tuesday.
So another
And-
100 since the last time.
It's about 100, a little less. We hit 4,400, but the season's not over yet. And you get new people moving in to buy stickers late and things like that. But all in all, it's about the same. I'm having her keep track, because this is part of the agenda tonight, of number of senior citizen passes and the number of regular fee passes, to see what we're gonna have to do, because we need to come up with $30,000, I figure, extra to keep maintaining the lifeguards at the pay they are now. So to do that, a little quick math will tell you that that's $7 a beach pass at 4,400.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you raise them $5 for every beach pass that you sold, you're still not gonna get to that figure.
What is the beach pass now? Cost?
35?
40 for the
It's 35, it's 40?
same pass and 15 for seniors.
Ah,
And from what I'm understanding, there's a majority of the passes are senior passes.
Okay.
and it's only 15? We didn't touch that before.
No, the senior passes, the selectmen did not vote to raise the senior passes, just the regular pass. But what you see here is the
What
age-old,
a distance.
it's like the gap. We don't make a lot of money on the beach passes, and that's all our budget completely. So, we usually clear like between 8 and 10,000, depending on expenses and things. We have a rainy day fund to take care of this year, but we have to think about,
Next year.
because we're gonna drain that pretty fast if we just let it go the way we are.
Yeah.
So,
When would be the time to address that?
ASAP.
Could we get a detailed accounting of?
We will know after Labor Day, like the next meeting will have basically what all has been spent for the year, because nothing really gets spent after September.
So it's
That
worth
includes
waiting.
the safety equipment. We'll know. A lot of that we won't have to do next year. I don't think we'll need new rescue boards.
Yeah.
Maybe not, some of that stuff. But we spent a lot this year on stuff like that, so that's,
Did we
but I
get
think
the
they,
gator?
what's that?
Did we get the gator?
We did not get the gator because my mistake, I thought we had put it in a warrant, and actually we had put it as a fund transfer.
So what are they using, the town truck?
So, so they shifted it back to our account because it was dedicated in 2021. And when we didn't use it, we had 1 year to use it. I thought it was a warrant article, so we had kept it because last year's truck, we kind of, with bubble gum and duct tape,
Yeah.
kept it going. They had a pretty good truck this year. I didn't ask Mike if he had any issues with the truck. Should have probably. And again, thank you for the highway department and the fire department for having the truck to let us use it.
Yeah. So we should really bring that on the next agenda.
The gator, I've been looking at all kinds everybody's got gators now. I think that's a better vehicle for the beach than the truck
Oh,
anyway.
absolutely.
And like I said, we put the storage thing next to the dumpster down there, we put it in there, lock it with the equipment, and everything would be easier
Mhm.
in the long run. Then we can just pick up the thing and drop it back here at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's a plan, but I don't know what's gonna happen at this point.
It'd be interesting to see what it costs for the day to go to Horse Neck.
It's $35 a car.
$35 a car, and we're charging how much for the season pass?
40.
$40.
But you can get a season pass for 65
Okay, at Horse Neck.
at Horse Neck. I think it's still 65. I think the sign still says 65.
Sure.
I'm sure that'll go up, but that's in line kind of what we're doing. I mean, our beach is not nicer,
Yeah,
but we don't have the facilities Horse Neck has either.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have bathroom facilities and snack bars and
mhm.
other sort of things.
Well, I think the biggest question from those who are purchasing the beach pass is gonna be where is this money going? And if you can show they have a professional lifeguard.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think people were very appreciative, or maybe more that we did get life. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people came to me like, thank God,
Yeah.
because that's always a concern. But you're looking at the facility. We always hope to save money to do things at the facility itself.
Yeah,
Like this year, we really need to weed whack some things. One of the gates is really shaky. Somebody busted it early in the year, and now it's closing and opening that second bay is like, and it's tough to do.
I know it seems kind of crazy, but I always think that a public-private partnership is a great way to kind of attack issues.
Yeah.
And if you had a friends group of charity.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Friends of the Cherry and Web Beach.
Yeah.
And then you have Friends of the Noble Beach, Friends of the East Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great if we could do that.
You'd need somebody to come forward and step forward and spearhead it.
Yeah, somebody who really wanted. And there are a lot of people who are really
Are passionate.
passionate about the beach.
Mm.
I mean, I meet them all the time,
Yeah.
and it's nice that they're passionate about the beach, and they have a lot of good suggestions, and a lot of suggestions that are unrealistic for what they'd like to see there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a toss-up as to, if the beach disappears, what happens. Just the East Beach, there's a lot of people who love East Beach
Mhm.
because they can get there on a hot day,
Yeah, park
put
the car.
put a folding chair out next to the car and just sit there and watch the seagulls fly back and forth, and ships go by, and it's nice. Other people who want a sandy beach at East Beach, that isn't
Sure.
going to happen. That's not going to happen. I still have to get the handicap spots up. I don't try to bother Chris too often because it doesn't have the
Yeah,
personnel all the
yeah.
time to be doing a lot of things he's doing already.
It
So.
just goes from bad to worse in that
I
department.
think, suggestions, it would be nice to have suggestions.
Well, if you had a group of
Constructive
committed-
suggestions.
Yeah, committed volunteers that said, well, we're gonna put some handicap spots, and they were able to go down there with one of us or something and say, okay, we'll put them here.
I know where I'd like to put them, it's real obvious, right as you come around the bend, there's a spot right there next to a sign that says, beach pass parking only or something. It's nice, it's a nice spot, so somebody handicapped, get out, it's fairly stable there. There's plenty of beach in front of them to keep it stable. So, and they could get out basically on this it's pretty hard pan there, and they could use a wheelchair and get out of a van. And again, the handicapped person I spoke to, that's all he'd want to do is just get out and be able to,
Yeah, Enjoy the
to be
beach.
sitting across the way and looking at,
yeah, it's not fair.
it isn't, so that would be a plan. But I mean, we take suggestions of what, maybe we, reach out and see what, I don't know who has control of the website, to tell you the truth.
Website for the town? or-
Yeah, the Town Beach Committee website,
Yeah,
but I don't know who has,
you want me to look into it?
I can look into it, I
Okay.
can call. Paula must know, I would imagine Paula would know, who's got access or ability to.
That would be great if we could update it right.
Yeah,
away and,
yeah. Lucy used to update it when she was, but I mean, a lot of people are busy and a lot of it's extra work for everybody. I mean, I don't care who updates it, but it should be updated as to
Yeah.
certain things. it's very outdated. I think the last agenda that was posted was like 2021.
That's a nice resource.
That's bad.
If we could use it, that'd be great.
Yeah, so. I don't think I had anything else.
We need to approve the minutes, right?
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Oh, the minutes of June 22nd? That what it is?
June 20th.
July 20th, rather, okay.
Motion. As written.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. We'll take care of that.
They did spray the beach.
Yeah, they sprayed it a while ago.
Yeah.
And,
I think
thank God for that,
2 or 3
thank God
weeks
for
ago,
that, because it was getting bad. It was getting real bad. We do have an animal problem at the beach. I've seen more skunks, raccoons, and deer this year than in past years. Like, I go down in the parking lot in the morning,
Yeah.
it looks like a petting zoo.
Yeah. The deer are incredible.
There's 3 deer that hang around together, they're all bucks, they're all coming through the park, and they just look at me like, yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're bothering me, get away. You know, with the raccoons and everyone, so when I go over to the last one near the dumpster, that's when I see all kinds of
Yeah.
critters scrambling in all kinds of directions, early in the morning anyway.
Now,
Other than that, the
where's
dumpster looks good, the dumpster's been good, I mean, the porta johns have been good, because this is a new
I didn't know
company.
we had a dumpster down there.
Oh yeah, we always have a dumpster.
Right next to Trips, right?
Yeah.
At the,
Yeah.
entrance.
The lifeguards clean a little, they throw the
Okay.
stuff in there, people can throw their stuff in there. I mean, it gets used by others, but I think it's a necessary evil just to keep trash from being all over the parking lot.
I know it seems crazy, but it seems like the biggest complaint that I've heard is the seaweed, and I know that if the Autobahn is giving us an issue, could they rake it, put it in the truck, and then throw it in the dumpster? Or is that
You could,
too
that's a lot of
labor-intensive?
work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of effort to get rid
Yeah.
of seaweed.
Yeah,
You know, if it was trash,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's just this year's
It's
been
gonna just
incredibly
keep
bad.
coming,
It's been
yeah.
incredibly bad this year with the seaweed.
Mhm.
Most of the fishermen haven't fished because it's so bad.
Yeah.
You can't even fish. It's just as thick as anything on the beach. And, you know, it's Mother Nature, you know.
Yeah.
Next year you might not have any, who knows, you know.
yeah. So,
Uh,
fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, I mean, I knew when they were raking, and I asked Mike not to do that, you know, I knew when they were raking it, Audubon wasn't gonna be happy, because they used to go nuts when they used to put it in the rows, just, you know, rake it off to 200 feet of beach.
I see they're doing that further down the beach at the private beach. Not his, but,
Yeah, even, yeah, they do that, because
Yeah.
people,
yeah,
they can do that, you know, they let Audubon deal with them, you
Yeah.
know.
yeah,
We pay Audubon to come down and tell us what to do, and
sure.
we don't wanna get in trouble with that. I mean, most of the successfulness of the Boaters Beach is the problem. I mean, the Heather Simmons, who writes the reports, was very specific about
Yeah.
something has to be done down there. Because it's
I've
out of
seen
control.
most people are respectful of the signs and the lines that are up, but you just have some people that don't, they'll just walk right through it, you know?
Yeah, well, the other Saturday night, there was a party going on, I mean, fireworks being shot, you're not supposed to
Yeah.
shoot off any fireworks, obviously, for obvious reason, when you have birds present.
Sure,
I mean, they were having full-blown fireworks, there was probably 100 people
on the beach? Wow,
at Boaters Beach.
Oh,
Boats, like, they look like, you know, a log jam.
yeah,
And, you know, I didn't go around, you know, survey who it was or anything like that, but like I did see somebody come into the parking lot, which it was hysterical. I locked the gate, I locked the first gate, and I go back and lock the gate and drive away. So I locked it, and I was coming back, and people were getting off the boat, and I was watching them, and there were 2 cars, both had stickers. I watched them, and the guy came up to me, he goes, "What time are we supposed to be out of there?" Meanwhile, there's a big flashing orange sign right there that says the gate's locked at 8 p.m. I pointed to it, and he goes, "Well, this is my first time here." You get a
Passed
beach
it
pass,
on the
and
way.
I'm like, yeah. But it's been fairly good. People have been very good this year, actually getting off on time. I get Quarter-8,
yeah,
mass exodus, which is great. So but I know I've watched what's been going on in the dunes on the other side.
sure,
People who aren't parking at the town, I see cars parked
yeah.
in other locations that are going up into the dunes.
Because you can go up the Autobahn path and then you walk the dunes, you can walk it pretty much right to the boat beach.
Yeah,
And you come out of the dune that is protected for the piping plovers.
right.
You know, so it's a little bit like, well, if you're going up the path, you're following the path, and then it brings you.
Well, you're not supposed to go to the middle path, that's the whole thing. Those
Yeah.
have been worn for years, but you really aren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go down the main path, that's the whole point.
Sure.
I think the bigger problem is on the Mullins side of the fence, people are parking right in the driveways.
Yeah. Parking in their driveways? Wow.
I
That's
mean,
bold.
like, oh, not that one, but the next one, you know, where Vinnie Collins is,
Mhm.
you know, and that laneway,
Yeah,
people pull in, because a lot of the cottages, Ernie Hirsch's and things,
yeah.
are kind of not being used, and
Mhm.
people have kind of found this out, and all of a sudden,
I just can't understand why people are going over the fence when all they'd have to do is walk a little further down to the beach, you know, it's. and
because you walk up the
beach.
path, and you get to the, if you think about it, you walk to the path,
Yeah,
and you look to say, okay, where am I gonna go? They've already walked past the dune access on the right,
yeah.
and they look over and they just go, psh.
Yeah,
But I think I see, and I was gonna ask Mike if he noticed it, but the day I happened to be down there and I was bringing them stuff and stuff, I was watching like
people go through.
Moses, you know, guiding through the Red Sea, coming down in a wave, and Jake,
Yeah.
Wigwamutaye and everything, that
Yeah.
it's like, he sees,
Sure.
he keeps moving,
Yeah.
and then it's all private beaches, but then they get to,
Yeah,
and they park it. And what usually happens, and this is something we have to do because somebody mentioned this to me, is the drop-offs. 10, 12-year-old kids, they drop them off
mhm,
like daycare,
yeah,
you know,
That's young.
and you know, if something, God forbid something should happen
yeah.
to them,
Mhm.
you know, nobody's watching them, you know, the lifeguards aren't taking inventory of, okay,
Sure.
a 12-year-old came and a 10-year-old,
Yeah.
something should happen.
Yeah.
And then the second part is, if something happens, you need to contact somebody.
Mhm.
There's no adults present. We made a policy, nobody under 16
Yeah.
accompanied, but it's not being followed.
You would hope if a 10 or a 12-year-old was being dropped off that they're meeting another parent or something, but,
No, I've gone down there at the end of the day, and they're sitting at the end of the, you know, sitting out on the road waiting for mom. They have the cell phone, they had to use that, and they're waiting for mom and dad to pick them up.
Yeah.
And they're, I would say none of them are over 12, 13 years old. It's amazing to me to watch, you know, that you would take that chance. But they know the lifeguards are there, so it's like daycare,
yeah.
you know. So, anyway, I've got nothing. Anybody have anything else?
I put together a draft for us for an action plan for the lifeguards.
Okay.
I can just leave it with you.
Okay.
And then I can email it to you.
Yeah, well, don't you email us,
And
the
then
best way,
we can-
everybody has it,
Yeah,
you can look at
send
it.
it out, and then, yeah, it just puts together what I think we should do, starting in September, moving throughout the year in terms of the lifeguards and putting together a plan. It seems like with 8 coming back, that want to come back, we may not have to.
That may change,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's life changes, and, you know,
Sure.
we're talking a year from now, you know, they could hit the
Yeah.
lottery and, you know, I'm not coming back, or, you know, their life changes, things happen in their lives, and if we can get 8 coming back, we're there, you know,
Yeah.
anybody else extra.
Yeah.
It seemed to, with Dana and your efforts, it seemed that we have a pretty good
Good.
showing,
Yeah.
so,
Speaking
and they all worked out, so that makes it even better, so.
I think, you know, I know that Dana knows we're grateful, but maybe sending a thank you letter to Dana,
I will.
and maybe Chris Boyle at Horse Neck Beach for coming down and training.
Is he there regularly?
He's the beach manager, I believe, or,
Do you have an email or anything?
yeah, I've got it, I can send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And,
I can send them like a little official thing.
Yeah.
I'll mention that
Anything else?
but I'll mention that at the selectmen's meeting too.
Sure. That's all I have.
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then.
Motion with that?
Second?
This is pretty easy because
Yeah.
there's only 2 people here, the motion and second, so all in
Aye.
favor? Aye.